Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're looking at a really fascinating coincidence. The moniker K3 is suddenly everywhere right now, but well, it means entirely different things depending on exactly which market you're looking at.
I mean, think about it. What do a $30 billion AI model and a 123 horsepower compact sedan actually have in common? Literally just the name. Right now, K3 represents two vastly different marvels of modern engineering. And honestly, comparing them side by side, it tells a totally fascinating story about the current state of technology.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the tale of two K3s.
So, in one corner, we have Moonshot's Kimi K3. We're talking about a groundbreaking open-weight AI model boasting a massive 2.8 trillion parameters. But then, in the other corner, you have the Kia K3. That's a highly practical 1.6-liter compact sedan. So we're looking at the absolute cutting edge of digital intelligence going head-to-head with the steadfast, everyday reliability of a daily driver.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, looking under the hood. Let's see how these are actually built.
You know, the Kia K3, it relies on a standard 1.6-liter petrol engine and a physical 50-liter tank to give it range. Makes sense, right? But Kimi K3's capacity is a bit different. It's a 1 million token context window, which basically means it can remember and process entire books of text all at once. And its engine? That uses what's called a sparse mixture of experts architecture. You can think of that as a network of highly specialized mini-brains. So it really comes down to the difference between combusting physical fuel and processing just vast oceans of digital data.
And that brings us to this really fascinating concept of efficiency. See, the Kimi K3 doesn't actually fire on all cylinders all the time. Out of its 896 total digital experts, it activates just 16 per task. It's actually a lot like how a modern car engine optimizes fuel injection for better mileage. Kimi optimizes its computing power to run incredibly efficiently, only using exactly what it needs.
Which brings us to Section 3, performance and real benchmarks. This is where it gets fun.
For the Kia K3, performance is measured in pure tangibles. You've got a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour, 0 to 100 in about 11 seconds, and a solid fuel economy of 14 kilometers per liter in the city. But the Kimi K3's performance, that's measured in pure digital dominance. It actually took the #1 spot on the blind front-end code arena, literally beating out top models and developer matchups. And it holds a really respectable score of 57 on the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index.
When we look at the broader AI landscape, the Kimi K3 is sitting in a very powerful position. With that score of 57 on the Intelligence Index, it's going toe-to-toe with the big proprietary giants. I mean, it lands just behind Claude Fable 5's score, which is around 60, but it actually edges out Opus 4.8. That officially makes it the highest-scoring open-weight model right now. It completely proves it can hold its own at the absolute frontier of AI capabilities.
All right, let's pivot a bit. Section 4, costs, reliability, and controversies.
Because here is the critical question. Just how reliable is the K3? And interestingly enough, this question applies equally to both of them. Obviously, you have to trust a car with your actual physical life out on the highway. But increasingly, businesses have to trust AI models with their mission-critical data and core workflows.
So it all comes down to trade-offs. The Kia K3 offers highly predictable safety features, right? You get a 5-year warranty, ABS, lane departure alerts. It is a very known quantity. The Kimi K3, on the other hand, is tackling complex, independent tasks, like the ones they measure on the AA briefcase benchmark. But man, it's expensive. It costs about $10.57 per task. It takes nearly an hour to complete that task, and there's a pretty notable risk of hallucinations.
And that specific risk number? It's 51%. Meaning, when the Kimi K3 doesn't know the answer to an uncertain question, it hallucinates, basically fabricates an answer 51% of the time. Which really highlights this structural trade-off happening in the AI industry right now. You have this constant push and pull between achieving high overall accuracy and, well, a tendency for very confident guessing. It's a huge reminder that while these models are incredibly intelligent, their reliability still absolutely requires human oversight.
But moving beyond just technical reliability, the Kimi K3 has also sparked some serious geopolitical friction. The U.S. administration claims that Moonshot AI engaged in large-scale intellectual property theft through a process called industrial distillation. The accusation here is essentially that they used the outputs of established U.S. models, like Anthropic's Fable 5, to secretly train and build their own system.
Now, to really understand this controversy, we just need to look at the sequence of events. Anthropic's Fable 5 launched on July 1st. Just 2 weeks later, on July 15th, Moonshot dropped the Kimi K3. And it's this exceptionally tight 14-day window that's heavily fueling the US claims. Officials argue that a model this powerful simply couldn't be developed independently in that short of a time frame. Moonshot AI, however, strongly denies any IP theft. They attribute their success strictly to incredibly rapid, record-breaking training runs. As one Moonshot employee put it, "We trained a brand new frontier model in just 15 days, Guinness World Record stuff." And honestly, global experts are pretty divided on this, with several pointing to Kimi's unique underlying architecture as solid proof of independent development.
Okay, let's wrap this up with Section 5, Global and Market Impact.
So how is this all actually playing out in the real world? Well, according to task routing data from Fireworks, which is software that automatically sends your prompts to different AI models based on cost and difficulty, developers are heavily using the Kimi K3 as their high-volume default. It's handling anywhere from 72 up to 96% of tasks just to save money, and they're only escalating to the much more expensive Fable 5 for the absolute hardest, most complex problems in the long tail.
And the market impact of this new efficiency? Completely staggering. It triggered an event traders quickly dubbed the Kimi moment. Basically, the sudden availability of a highly capable open-weight Chinese model sent this massive shockwave straight through the tech and crypto markets. It literally wiped billions off the market caps of major chip makers, and crazy enough, dragged Bitcoin down below $63,000, all because investors were rapidly reassessing their long-held assumptions about US dominance in AI computing.
Consequently, Moonshot AI's valuation absolutely skyrocketed. In a matter of days, the startup's value surged from $4.3 billion to over $20 billion, with reports now suggesting that current negotiations are pushing that valuation toward an astonishing $30 billion. I mean, wow.
So bringing this explainer full circle, we're reminded of the incredible contrast in what the name K3 signifies today. On one hand, you have a $30 billion digital giant that is fundamentally altering global financial markets and challenging international tech paradigms. But on the other hand, you have a super dependable 123 horsepower sedan, just quietly doing its job to get you home safely and efficiently.
Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder here. As digital AI models reach the massive valuations of traditional physical automotive empires in a matter of mere days, are we truly prepared for the pace of the next Kimi moment? It's such a fascinating intersection of the physical and digital worlds right now. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I'll see you next time.